Good, man. That's what we mean. Welcome on the show called Yat Vibes. Excited. Today's edition, I didn't even expect to have this conversation in a while, like anytime, any soon. I'm excited because today we have one of, I don't even know where to start from. Welcome on the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
I don't even know where to start from. But let's start it from that video, that song. Which year was that?
This was 2002.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This was our second album. Yeah, so it came out in 2002.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know how I should address you right now. But can we keep it as Saboi?
Yes.
From the Shatel.
Exactly.
Welcome on Yatu Vibes.
Thank you.
Excited to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Let's start from there. 2002. That was one of the biggest songs in the country. Now when I watch it, I was even laughing at it, looking at the transition of the video and how things have changed in Zambian music. But let's talk about the Shatels and how everything started from scratch, from the genesis.
Okay.
Maybe give us a few information that we need to know.
Okay, I started miming at school. You know, we used to mime boys to men songs.
Yeah.
So it'd be like 4 girls pretending to be guys. You know, and when I completed school, a friend of mine was like, I need to write a song for you. But my other friends were like, no, we can't sing, actually, we can only mime. So I called a friend of mine, and this friend of mine used to sing with Barbara at church, at Methodist Church. So I came together, the three of us, and that's how Shatel was formed. And we used to be 3. You know, those days, there would be all these groups, the lady groups like Salt and Paper, SWV, and everything, you know, but we were not supported. You know, by then, music was something unheard of. You know, just to say, telling your family, I want to sing, it was a big problem. So our families never supported us. The other person stopped along the way. But Barbara and I think, became defiant and said, this is what we want to do. And we ended up doing the music, you know. So that's how it started. We would sing, you know, live shows. We would back people like Maureen Lilanda. And people were able to sing, rather to see our music, to hear it, because we perform live our own song. There was a song called Niswalele, which Chideshen Shofo, by the way, helped us make, you know. By then, would make English songs. So he came to us and said, no, you have to have an identity. Do songs in your own language. And he was like, you Saboi, not many people have done songs in vernacular, or rather in Lozi, you know, so I have that advantage. So Niswalele, which was our first single, which came out on the Rhythm Nation project, was actually a song called Baby Baby, the way it starts, Baby Baby, that was the title. So he said, no, put in a Lozi chorus. So we worked on that chorus together with him, you know, and that's how that song would go to all these variety shows and concerts and festivals and sing it, and everybody just loved the music. So when Mondo Music came up with the Rhythm Nation project, the producers on the project, like Mainza, you know, Mainza Chipenzi, he was like, there's that group called Shatel that sings so well, let's bring them on board. We went to the studio audition, they liked the music, and like they say, the rest is history.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we knew you as Shatels. The bigger question that most people ask is what happened to the Shatel?
Shatel, to be honest with you, we don't know ourselves.
What really happened?
I think life just happened, you know.
Responsibilities?
Yes. Because I think that was 2004. That is the time Barbara got married, and that's the time I decided to go back to Unza. You know, because when I completed school, I was accepted to go to Unza, but by then my mother did not have money. And my family did not support my music, and that is why when I started became defiant, it was one of those things where
So you had a hit song in 2002. 2004, you decided to go back to Unza.
Yes.
But you were not making money. Music-wise?
Music-wise, not really, because like I said, I was supposed to be at Unza just when I completed school. My mother could not help me, but my mother didn't have money at the time. When I went into music, I raised my own money. You know, I made money and I said, oh, I've got enough money to go back to school now. So I went back to school. But when I went back to school, I told myself at first, I'm going to mix both music and school. But I saw that it was affecting my grades. You know, so at some point I just said I need to stop music and concentrate on school. You know, so I did that. But again, it affected me financially because the money was coming in from the music. You know, so when I did that, it was a bit of a problem. And when Barbara got married, she went to stay on the Copper Belt. You know, if you ask people that were with us at that time, they'll tell you that Shatel was one of the most expensive acts on the Zambian music scene. And we were expensive because we'd consider 2 people. You get the point. For example, somebody comes to Mondo Music and they say, we want to get the 2 of maybe JK and Shatel. Maybe JK, the company will charge 5,000, and for Shatel they charge 7,000. In the long run, Barbara and I, we share 3,535, but we're charging 7,000. Whereas other artists will charge maybe 5,000 or 4,000. You get the point. So we were expensive. And sometimes also if you're performing outside Lusaka, you have to consider transportation and everything. So when Barbara got married, she went to stay on the Copper Belt. So meaning that each and every show that Shatel had to do, we had to put in transport expenses, because either I'm traveling to the Copper Belt, or she's coming here, or we're going to Livingstone or wherever. So it became very, very expensive really. And as we went on, like I said, school-wise as well, just a lot of factors came in, and it was just very difficult for us to sing. By the time I was completing UNZA, I had a job with the UN, ECZ at some point, went to work for Save the Children, became a lecturer at UNZA. So many things happened, and we loved music, we wanted to sing, but life just happened, really.
Yeah. Let's talk about Mondo. Few people, maybe new generation, people are watching, maybe some generation, they don't know. What role were they playing when you got signed? Something that you as a group couldn't do?
Mondo Music to me was one of those companies that tried to be a record label, the way a record label should operate. In Zambia, people failed to define or be a record label. All they wanted is to be a business and make money from the artists. I think the only other person that tried to do what Mondo did after a long time was Kalandanya. I'm happy with what he was doing and whatever. Of course, too many politics came in and everything, but at least he tried to do that. But if you look at Mondo, just from the time you signed, when they sign you, from the time you start going to record your album, the company pays for your transport, okay? The food you eat every day as you record, it's the company, because they would give us, let's say, a month to do an album. There would be a time frame. If maybe you delay, maybe it would be like 5 weeks or 6 weeks, but you had a time frame that you had to adhere to. From there, once the music was done, the outfits, everything, so the media appearances, the photo shoots, the company basically did everything for you as an artist, So from there, that's when now they started also now selling and everything. Of course, the contracts were bad. That I'll tell you. Our contracts were very, very bad. I know that worldwide you find that when you're a new artist, the company might takes advantage of a new artist and everything. But one thing I would give Mondo credit for is just the fact that they did really try, to do the best. They knew to say, okay, you may not make money from the music, you're going to make money from the shows. We made a lot of money from the shows. We'd have shows maybe sometimes 3-4 times in a week. Then other times, of course, 2 times, 3 times, just like that. So we made so much money from the performances. But an artist should make money from the performances and the music itself. So to cut the long story short, Mondo did try to do what a record company should do. So that was a role that they really played. Even in terms of management, when people wanted to hire Shatel, they wanted to hire all the artists under Mondo, they went to the manager who was working under Mondo. At some point we had this woman called Mila, then later on Mtinda Msokotwane. Those were the people that were managing the artists under Mondo Music.
There's been a debate that's been going on, still ongoing. Like we just played one of your old songs right there. Do we still get something at the end of the day? Because these songs are still playing on radio as artists, because you were signed under Mondo. Do you still get paid with what you did way back, or maybe all the copyright goes straight back to Mondo?
Actually, on that one, to be honest with you, if 1 or 2 things are not done right, you see us in court very soon with Mondo Music. That's a sad part about it. When we were signing our contracts, we thought maybe the contracts were running for 5 years for certain things. After 5 years elapsed, we went back. Barbara and I went back to Mondo Music and said, "Oh, we've come back for our rights and everything." Then they were like, "No, you should have seen this and this clause. This clause means the music is owned by us in perpetuity and everything." So we're like, no, we're not going to allow that. So we spoke, and then they said, "Okay, fine, we'll sell you back the rights." So an arrangement was agreed upon to say, "We'll sell you back your rights, but only when you finished we finish paying for this, then that's when we give you like the online rights, because all other places you can utilize it, but online will continue making that money, getting or rather owning the rights." But the funny part is this: they insist on still owning the rights online, but we don't get money for anything. You get the point? Because that's for the money they're making online. We should, when the players can actually buy the rights off them. We have not gotten our money for so many years. And also the sad part is that if you go online right now, there's so many people that have created accounts for Shatel, you know, our various music, and people are making money, you know. So for some of it, even Mondo itself is not making money. Just individuals from we don't know where, you know, we just came in. I remember the other time my ex Nalu called me, and then they were like, this music, I don't want to mention the name. There's this music, this Zambian platform on this music platform online. They are selling our music at 99 kwacha. You know,
is it in Mrs.
I certainly want to mention it. Okay, yes, let me be honest with you.
Okay.
Yes, it's Investor Sunny.
Okay.
So it was like, I've seen our music on Investor Sunny. Who signed the contract? And who's making money from it? Because we have seen your music, our music is also there. You know, so we are yet to meet with some of these artists who sit and say, who's making money? Because whoever is making money, if it's more, then we just need our cut. If it's another person, we need to take that person to court, and then they do what they give us back our money, whatever it is that they need to do. Because there's so much of taking advantage of artists in this country. You know, the intangible rights, for example, or rather intangible properties that we have. People take advantage of copyright. You know, they're not like tangible properties. Today, when I get your shoe, because everybody can see that I've taken your shoe, they'll say, Abansapato, you know what I mean? I'm Tengera TV. It's easy for people to follow to say she stole the TV from this person. But when I say I sang this music and people have put it online and they're making so much money from it, people don't understand the kind of theft and the money that these people make and disadvantaging the artists. They don't really see that. So I think when we start going to court and doing certain things, I think that's when people will see just how big of a problem this is.
The other question I'd like to find out, if we could turn back the hands of time, way back, what advice would you give you, younger you, way back in time?
Okay. I think I would have stayed in certain job positions maybe longer. You know, I worked for the UN and I left such a good job. You know, I said, I want to do my master's right now and everything. Maybe I should have had that job for 2-3 years longer. You know, it's one of the regrets that I have, if I should call it that, because like I said, I have very, very few regrets. If I look back and I say, okay, maybe this, maybe that, because we do certain things for the sake of job opportunities and everything, and the kind of work that we want to do. So sometimes you want to achieve a certain something and you think, I can risk this for this. So maybe, just maybe, I could have had more impact on people's lives and just certain things if I stayed longer in that position that I had.
I have two last remaining questions. First one is trying to find out why do we still have few female artists in the industry. I'm sure in as much as you have not been doing music for, like, now you're concentrating on other things, but I also want to find out, why do we still have few female artists in the music industry? I'm asking this question based on your experience way back. It was almost the same thing.
Yes.
Like, it's an industry that is male dominated, like we have more male compared to less women, and you find that when female artists come on the scene, initially their career is not like longer than a guy's career. Why is it like that?
Yeah. It is so sad. And you know, for me, I don't know how God made me. I always find myself in these male-dominated industries. Music was male-dominated. When I was a lecturer, I was the only female political science lecturer in my department. Politics right now, still male-dominated. And for me, what I see sometimes is, number one, women are not as much of risk takers as men. That's one thing I can tell you for a fact. You know, apart from being an artist, I was also a music administrator. From 2009 to 2013, I was the person that represented all the musicians in the country at the National Arts Council board. You know, so I had that experience of a musician plus a music administrator. Also, my company, a media company, would do a lot of shows for artists and everything. And what I also learned is that men push a lot in music. You know, sometimes you'd have maybe a concert and you'd say, for this concert we need people to come through and advertise the show. When you say that, you know, for the men, they know that apart from advertising the show, they're advertising themselves, you know what I mean? They're selling themselves and everything. Maybe somebody even has a new project. They are willing to go to TV and radio and even sing that new song and everything. But for the women, just say, oh, advert. Need to pay transport, need to pay chani. So most times I'll even sit down with the women and, guys, I think you push, you know. And many times I'll tell them, even now, to say, you saw when Shatel was singing, would be there, because we'll do things 2 or 3 times harder than the men. When you are in a male-dominated industry, and that's the trick about a male-dominated industry, when you are in such an industry, work harder than the guys. That's the tricky thing about it, because them, they already have that advantage. But for you as women, trust me, you really have to do a lot. You need to push. I've noticed also in music right now that one of the ways people get known is by collaborating with certain artists. A newcomer artist in this country, for example, they'll go, Slap D, Ndani, this one, Exile. I want you to write me a song. I want you to feature. Maybe they'll even get money and they go to that artist and even pay them. But a female artist, so I tell them all the time, please push yourselves, and I'll give them an example. Look at Mampi, and Mampi is a person who, even the time she was starting music, should come to us, should come to Barbara and me, and would sit and have conversations with her. And she's one of the people that I'm really, really proud of, So she's there, and I'll tell them, you're not really an artist until you see your name on a banner. And I tell the ladies, most times the only name I see on a banner is Mampi. I see Mampi, I see Cleo right now, okay, I see Wezi, and of course a few others, but it's still not satisfactory. We need our ladies to push. We need our ladies to be strategic. If a certain artist is making so much sense, talk to that artist, maybe do a feature with that person and stuff like that. So they need to do that.
Your thoughts on the current state of Zambian music? I know you see it from afar. From 2000, now we're talking about 2023.
Yeah.
What's your thought?
And believe me, I don't even see it from afar. I see it from very close, actually.
There's one point where you just come across it, listen to it.
Yeah, very close, because I'm not a professional artist anymore. I don't sing professionally, but I've always been very, very close, when it comes to music and everything, and the political side of music.
Yeah.
So music advocacy and everything is something that I have never, ever stopped. So looking at the music industry right now, I think government has to really invest. I've been giving examples to say, in Congo, for example, Mobutu Sese Seko, the dictator that everybody says he was, or that he was, he loved music so much, So at a personal level, he would pump in money into the musicians. And look at where Congolese music ended up being. In Nigeria, the government a few years ago decided to pump in money, to say, let's invest in this, and we can see the returns, So in Zambia right now, we have reached that level whereby government just has to pump in money. I'm so sad that even when now, the budget has been given, there's so little that the music have to benefit, the so-called national cake is a cake which everybody has to have a bite and a piece of cake from. So the musicians have to come together and say, this is our part. So for me, I urge the government to say, invest in music, push in money in music so that the artists are able to do whatever it is that they need to do, be it music, be it film, what is it that the artists out there have, So that's a side actually of music that I'm on right now, whereby I'm always advocating to say, you know what, we need money to be pushed in so that people are able to do so much. A long time ago, for you to make it on the international scene, you had to maybe sing with an American artist. But these days, the Americans are coming to Africa, they're going to Nigeria, to sing with the Nigerians. And we see how big these songs are when they sing with the Nigerian artists. Zambia has that sound, which the world has not yet exploited. So we need to push that out. I love organizations or companies like Stand Big Bang that have the music festival. Brandline Africa has come in doing the Legends concert and everything. All these people have to be supported. How is it that they can come in and ensure that they pump in money in the musicians? People need to have studios. People need to have money to just go out and produce more music so that we really, really develop the music industry in this country, because the artists in this country do have what it takes. What they just have, what they just need rather, are the right investments. For you to get a Nigerian artist, for example, or even a Diamond from Tanzania, you pay about $50,000 to $80,000 per artist. So meaning that the government, when the right investments are put in music, they are going to make so much money, first of all, from taxes, and they're going to contribute to the GDP of this country. And for me also, since I'm on the other side in terms of politics, music is not only about entertainment, it's also about foreign policy. That's why you see countries like China, like America, even Nigeria, South Africa, they use art so much for their foreign policy, because sometimes people may not be interested in politics, but they're going to watch a Van Damme movie. They're going to watch Sylvester Stallone. So from there now, you push in your agenda as a country. So in Zambia right now, the government, if they want to sell themselves out, they can actually use music, they can use film in a way that they project themselves in a certain way. Nigeria is benefiting from that. South Africa is benefiting from that, because when people watch a Nigerian movie, before you know it, everybody wants to sing like a Nigerian. Before you know it, everybody wants to talk like a Nigerian. Even in churches and everything, everybody wants to go to Nigeria. So all those things are things that the government has to sit down and strategize and ensure that through the art, they project themselves in a certain way to the outside world, and from there now you make money from your.
I was going to have a conversation with you. So much information. Thank you very much for coming through. We'll leave it up to the viewers. I'm sure next time when you come through, likely maybe in future, we'll also want to get find out regarding live music as a country. We still are struggling.
Yeah.
We've been seeing people struggling, still performing live. It's something that we've been seeing that people are crying out there saying, Zambian artists, what's going on? Why are we not having many artists performing live music? That's another conversation for another day right there. But thank you very much for coming through. We appreciate it. Right on Yatu Vibes. I know you're a busy woman, but yeah, thank you very much. It has been our today's edition. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, right here by Yatu Vibes for Prime TV.